"Oh man, I think we have a flat," I said to my wife, Lauren. "Hang on, let me check my phone and see if there's a tire shop nearby," she replied. "Dad, what's going on?" asked my 11-year-old daughter, Hella. "Don't worry, sweetheart. We just have a flat tire," I reassured her. "Are we going to miss my dance competition?" Ella asked with concern. "We've still got a couple of hours before you need to be there. We should be fine," I said. "Jason, there's a repair place about a mile down the road," Lauren informed me. "That's not too far. We can make it. How do you even have service out here?" "I've got nothing," I asked. "It's spotty, but I got lucky for a minute," she answered. Lauren looked incredibly stressed, and I figured it was because she was worried about Ella possibly missing her nationals competition. We had hit the road early this morning for the 6-hour drive to Farmington, West Virginia, so Ella could perform later in the afternoon. I kept the car crawling forward, careful not to ruin the rim driving on a flat. Eventually, we pulled into the tire shop, which was packed with customers. "Come on, Lauren. Let's head inside and find out how long it'll take to get a new tire," I said. "Why don't you go in? I'll stay here with Ella," she suggested. "All right, that works," I agreed. I hurried inside before someone else could get ahead of me in line. As I approached the front desk, the man behind the counter looked up. "How can I help you, sir?" "I've got a flat tire, and my daughter has a dance competition. We really need to move fast," I explained. "We're a little backed up today, but we'll do our best to help you out," he said. "Could you give me an estimated wait time?" I asked. "Well, there are about 10 people ahead of you. It'll likely be 2 to 2.5 hours, he replied. "Oh man, that's too long. It might be sooner, but I can't make any promises." "All right, but if there's anything you can do, we'd really appreciate it." "We'll see what we can do, sir." The waiting room was full of tired and impatient faces. I went back to the car to update Lauren and Ella. "They said it could take up to 2.5 hours, I said. "Oh, whatever," Lauren responded, barely lifting her head. She seemed completely checked out, while I felt like I was on the verge of a heart attack. I glanced at my phone again. Still no signal, so I couldn't even call the other dance parents to check if the competition was running late. "Dad, what if I'm late?" Ella asked. "Don't worry, honey. It'll be all right," I said, even though inside I was starting to panic. At nationals, being late usually meant you couldn't compete. I started pacing outside the car while Lauren sat motionless, her head down, and Ella grew more and more anxious. About 15 minutes later, the man from the counter, his name tag said Mike, came outside to look at our car. "I'll try to get your tire changed as fast as I can. It's just the rear passenger side," he asked. "Yeah, that's the one. Thank you so much," I replied. "Our garage is full, so I'll just jack it up out here and do it," Mike said. "Oh man, you're a lifesaver," I exclaimed. Mike went to grab the jack, and I told Lauren and Ella to get out of the car. "Lauren, come on, we need to get out so he can change the tire," I called. "He can do it while I'm sitting here," she snapped. I decided not to argue, figuring Mike would tell her if it was necessary. Sure enough, Mike walked over, saw Lauren sitting with her head down, and said, "She has to get out. Mom, come on. Please get out so he can fix it," Ella pleaded. But Lauren stayed glued to her seat, refusing to move. Mike looked irritated. He was clearly doing us a favor by working outside. Then something strange happened. Mike peered into the car and said, "Kim, is that you?" His face filled with shock. Lauren didn't respond. She kept her head down. "Kim, it's me, Mike," he said. "That's Lauren, my wife," I quickly corrected him. "No, sir. That's Kim Greer sitting in your car," Mike insisted. "What? That's Lauren. I've been married to her for 14 years. Sir, ask her to lift her head. She's got a little dimple right above her lip. Right? She does? But how do you know that? Because I knew Kim Greer, and that's her. There's no way, unless you somehow traveled to where we live, you're confusing her with someone else. I'm telling you, that's not your wife. I was overwhelmed with emotions. Worry about Ella's competition, anger at Mike's accusations, and pure confusion. Lauren kept her face hidden. Look, I said, trying to stay calm. I'll give you an extra $50 if you just change the tire with her inside. All right? Mike agreed reluctantly. But that's Kim Greer. I bit my tongue and watched as he quickly jacked up the car, removed the lug nuts, and replaced the tire. After handing him the $50, I got back into the car. As I started the engine, Mike leaned in and said, "You might want to sleep with one eye open and lock your daughter's door at night." What the hell do you mean by that? I asked, confused and angry. Mike didn't answer. He got called back inside by one of his coworkers. I sped off, focused on getting Ella to her competition. But Mike's words echoed in my mind the whole way. "Hey Lauren, why do you think that guy said you were Kim Greer?" I asked casually. "He's probably just crazy," she answered dismissively. He seemed pretty convinced. "Well, you don't need a PhD to change tires. Probably some mental illness." "Yeah, maybe," I muttered. We arrived just in time, and Ella performed her first routine. We had an hour until her next dance. Finally getting cell service, I curiously searched for Kim Greer. Turns out there were a lot of them. One even lived in Australia. But then I found something disturbing. An old newspaper article popped up about a Kimberly Greer, a former daycare worker found not guilty by reason of insanity after 3 children died under her care. She had been committed to a mental institution indefinitely. "What the hell?" I whispered, stepping away from the other parents. The article said Kim Greer was from the very same town where we stopped for the tire. Still, I told myself there was no way. I'd been married to Lauren for over 14 years. I searched for photos of Kim Greer. They were grainy court pictures, but something caught my eye. The same dimple above the lip, and brown eyes. I remembered Lauren used to have blue eyes. Then years later, after giving up contacts due to infections, her natural brown eyes were revealed. Sure, lots of people resemble each other. This had to be a crazy coincidence, right? Ella started getting ready for her next dance. She was jittery. Meanwhile, Lauren stayed disconnected, not even helping with Ella's hair. Something she had always done before. Why wouldn't she lift her head at the tire shop? Why wouldn't she get out of the car? It wasn't like her at all. But why was I even questioning this? Lauren and I met back in 2008 when we both worked at Six Flags. We dated, got engaged quickly, and married. I finished college, became a nonprofit manager, and we had Ella. Everything had been normal, except the stroke I suffered when Ella was 3. It wiped out parts of my memory, gaps I always thought were harmless. Ella finished her last dance and we drove home. I stayed awake by blasting AM radio while Lauren slept soundly in the passenger seat. Once home, we stumbled inside like zombies. I barely made it to bed before passing out. The next morning, my alarm woke me up. I went downstairs and found Ella looking lost. "Dad, where's Mom? She's supposed to help with my hair." "I thought she was downstairs. You haven't seen her?" "No." I spotted Lauren's phone on the counter. SIM card removed. I rushed to the driveway. Her car was gone. "Dad, I'm gonna miss the bus," Ella cried. "Don't worry, honey. I'll drive you," I said, trying to hide my growing panic. There was no note, no explanation. I decided to work from home that day to figure out what was going on. After dropping off Ella, I waited until 8 a.m. to call Lauren's work. She left a voicemail early this morning resigning from her position, they told me. My gut twisted. I walked around the house trying to spot anything unusual. I picked up a photo from the wall. One of the three of us when Ella was a baby. Staring at it, I noticed something off. Lauren's neck wasn't quite aligned naturally with her shoulders. Holy crap, it was photoshopped. That wasn't Lauren. She had superimposed her face over the real Lauren's. And suddenly, everything Mike had said came crashing down on me. Whoever had been living with me wasn't my wife. Was she Kim Greer? And if so, where was the real Lauren? Had she guided me to that tire shop on purpose, thinking no one would recognize her? My blood ran cold. I had no idea what to tell Ella or what to do next.